শর্মিষ্ঠা শুনা পাইছা? শর্মিষ্ঠা
শুনা পাইছো।
এই অৰ্চনা আৰু অৰুণিমাৰ হেৰি মানে স্লাইড শ্বেয়াৰ এনেবল কৰি দিবা।
হয় স্যাৰ, শ্বেয়াৰ স্ক্ৰীন কৰিলেই হ'ব নহয়?
তেওঁলোকক co-host কৰি দিয়া।
co-host কৰি দিছে নেকি অলৰেডি?
co-host কৰি দিছো।
দিছে
co-host
স্যাৰ।
কৰিলে ডেটা দিগদাৰ নাই।
ফোন কৰে।
অৰ্চনা আহিছা?
স্যাৰ আছো মই।
ঠিক আছে। অৰুণিমা?
স্যাৰ আছো স্যাৰ।
ঠিক আছে। বৰুৱা ছাৰ শুনা পাইছেনে?
পাই আছো।
এতিয়া আমি কি আৰম্ভ কৰি দিওঁ নেকি?
পাৰে 65 মান আছে মানুহ, হ'ব ষ্টাৰ্ট কৰিব পাৰে। টাইমটো গৈ আছে নহয়?
টাইমটো গৈ আছে। Hello everyone, welcome to this University Grants Commission's webinar series. This is the third series of this particular webinars, and today we have selected a very important topic on quality education, accreditation and teacher development. Respected Director of the School of Social Science, Professor Jaidip Borua sir, colleagues of Kristakant Hendrik State Open Universities, sorry for sudden disconnection. Research scholars and our learners from across Assam who participate this particular event. Welcome to this webinar on education, accreditation and teaching. Today we will have two lectures. One lecture will be given by Dr. Orunima Bora on quality education, and another is given by on teacher development. And all this discussion will be given in purview of the recently published or recently accepted National Education Policy 2020. And the motto of this particular webinar is to make ourselves aware about what National Education Policy given emphasis on quality education, on accreditation, and on teacher development. And on the basis of this, we can definitely make up our future roadmap in case of our education system. With this word, now I request Professor Jaideep Barua sir to give the inaugural speech. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. Since we have some connectivity issue in the university, so we are using our own mobile sets. So I suspect that there will be intermittent disconnections. So please bear with us. So with this introductory remarks, so let me thank the Discipline of Education of Pujya Kumar Bhuya School of Social Sciences, KKH State Open University, for asking me to speak a few introductory words in this webinar on quality education, accreditation, and teacher development. I particularly thank Pranav for giving this opportunity, and also the other colleagues in my school for at least having thought of this webinar and taking time out to think about certain things which are already there in the national education policy and which actually requires a deep reflection. So I will not stand in between the two lectures which are to be delivered by Orsana and Arunima, since these are designated lectures. So my kind of brief remark will be based on the thinking about the National Education Policy 2020. I had the occasion of looking at the draft, which was quite voluminous one, over 484 pages, and also the final draft, which is greatly reduced to the size of 60 pages. And I can see several references made to quality of education and other such things like affordability, accessibility, equitable education, and so on and so forth. So definitely the quality education is one of the main concern of the National Education Policy 2020. I will not speak much on accreditation and teacher development. I will just briefly speak about few words. Speak few words about quality of education. If you see the Indian independence, this was a peculiar period in 1947 when Indian as a result of prolonged Indian national movement, we attained independence. So we actually thought of political equality, and then we decided to go for political equality in terms of votes, that everybody, no matter who, whatever his social and economic standing, that he will be having only one vote, which is going to be equal for everyone. So that's a great idea which India tried, and everybody thought that probably it's not going to work, but it worked. And then political equality was established at the time as a constitutional provision. Interestingly, of course, the political equality was put in for a system of hugely hierarchical and unequal social and economic order. দেখা পাব যে যি সময়ত আমি ৰাজনৈতিক সমতাৰ ধাৰণাটো ভাৰতবৰ্ষৰ সংবিধানৰ জৰিয়তে আমি আমদানি কৰিলো আৰু তাক সংস্থাপিত কৰিলো, সেই সময়ত ভাৰতৰ অৱস্থা সামাজিক আৰু অৰ্থনৈতিকভাৱে ক্ষমতাৰ এটা ভেটি তাত তেতিয়া নাছিলে। আমাৰ এতিয়াও আছে, আৰু অৰ্থনৈতিকভাৱেও আমি এখন সাংঘাতিকভাৱে অসম আছিলো, কিন্তু তৎসত্ত্বেও আমি কিন্তু ৰাজনৈতিক সমাজ এনেকুৱাই নহওক লাগিলে তেওঁ মাত্ৰ এটা ভোটেই পাব আৰু সেইটো আন সকলোৰে সৈতে সমান হ'ব, সেই ধৰণৰ ধাৰণা এটা আমি লৈ পেলাই কাম কৰিলো। আপোনালোকে যদি চাই তেতিয়াহ'লে আপোনালোকে কনষ্টিটিউৱেণ্ট এছেম্বলি ডিবেট বিলাক যদি চাই, যে সাংবিধানিক সভাত যিখন ভাৰতৰ সংবিধান সভাত যিবিলাক তৰ্ক আলোচনা হৈছিল, তাত দেখা পাব যে সোশিও ইকনমিক ইকুৱেলিটি লৈ পেলাই বহুত আলোচনা হৈছিল, আৰু পাছত সেইবিলাক ডাইৰেক্টিভ প্ৰিন্সিপলছ হৈ পেলাই আৰ্টিকল 38 আৰু আৰ্টিকল 39ত কিছু পৰিমাণে তাত এটা উল্লেখ পাব। আৰু তাত এইটো কথা কোৱা হৈছে যে যদিও আমি পলিটিক্যাল ইকুৱেলিটি এটা সোশিয়াল আৰু ইকনমিক ইনইকুৱেল সোসাইটি বা অৰ্ডাৰৰ ওপৰত আমি আৰোপ কৰিছো তথাপিও আমি ৰাষ্ট্ৰ হিচাপে ষ্টেট হিচাপে আমি হেতুক আমি ওভাৰকাম কৰিবৰ কাৰণে আৰু সমতাৰ ফালে আগবাঢ়ি যাবৰ কাৰণে টুৱাৰ্ডছ ইকুৱেলিটি আমি যাবৰ কাৰণে চেষ্টা কৰিম উই উইল ষ্ট্ৰাইভ শব্দটো আছে আৰ্টিকলত আৰু সেই বস্তুটো আমি পিছত সংবিধানিক সভাত সেই সম্পৰ্কে বিতৰ্ক হওঁতে আম্বেদকাৰে এইটো কথাও কৈছিল যে ষ্ট্ৰাইভ মানে হ'ল কি যে অহৰহ চেষ্টা কৰি থকা যে সেইটো খালে আমি ৰাষ্ট্ৰৰ এটা নীতি হ'ব যে অহৰহ সমতাৰ ধাৰণাটোৰ প্ৰতি ৰাষ্ট্ৰই কাম কৰি থকা আৰু এই ক্ষেত্ৰত আপোনালোকে যদি ভাৰতৰ শিক্ষানীতিবিলাকৰ আলোচনা কৰে তেতিয়াহ'লে কোঠাৰী কমিশ্যন যেতিয়া 1960s মিড 60s যেতিয়া হ'ল তেতিয়া সেই কথাটো সম্পৰ্কে বিতং আলোচনা হৈছিল বহুত লেখামেলা আছে মই বিতংকে ক'বলৈ নাযাওঁ মই মাত্ৰ উল্লেখ কৰিব বিচাৰিছো যে সেই কথাটো ক'বলৈ যাওঁতে কি হৈছিল যে পাৰপাস অফ এডুকেশ্যন যে আমাৰ শিক্ষাৰ যিটো উদ্দেশ্য সেই উদ্দেশ্যত এটা কথা কোৱা হৈছিল যে ইট উইল অলসো প্লে এন ইনষ্ট্ৰুমেণ্টেল ৰোল ইন ব্ৰিংগিং দ্য সোশিয়েল ইকুৱেলিটি এণ্ড সোশিয়েল ৰিডিউচিং সোশিয়েল ইনইকুৱেলিটি অৰ্থাৎ যে শিক্ষাৰ জৰিয়তে আমি যেটো কথা কৈছিলো যে অৰ্থনৈতিক আৰু সামাজিকভাৱে এখন বৈষম্য ভৰা সমাজত ৰাজনৈতিক ইকুৱেলিটিৰ কথাটো যেহেতু অনা হৈছে আৰু অহৰহ আমি চেষ্টা কৰি থাকিম সমতাৰ কাৰণে বুলি কোৱা হৈছে তাৰ অংশ হিচাপে আচলতে শিক্ষা ব্যৱস্থাটো এটা উদ্দেশ্য ঠিক কৰা হৈছিল যে শিক্ষাই মানুহক এম্পাৱাৰ কৰিব আৰু শিক্ষাৰ জৰিয়তে আমি যিবিলাক সামাজিক আৰু ৰাজনৈতিক অৰ্থনৈতিক আমাৰ যিবিলাক বৈষম্য আছে সেইবিলাক নাইকিয়া কৰিম অৰ্থাৎ যেতিয়া আমি আৰম্ভণিৰ সময়ছোৱাত স্বাধীনতাৰ সময়ছোৱাত আমি যেতিয়া শিক্ষাৰ উদ্দেশ্যৰ কথাটো ভাবিছিলো যে ইনষ্ট্ৰুমেণ্টেল ৰোল অফ এডুকেশ্যন ইন ব্ৰিংগিং সোশিয়েল ইকুৱেলিটি was also seen as one of the most important objective of education policy আৰু সেই কাৰণে 1968 কোঠাৰী কমিশ্যনত আপোনালোকে দেখিব যে তাতে ইউনিভাৰ্সেল এডুকেশ্যনৰ কথা কোৱা হৈছে যাতে সবেই যাতে সেই শিক্ষা পায় আৰু তাৰ জৰিয়তে সেই ধৰণৰ এটা ব্যৱস্থা সমতাৰ এটা ব্যৱস্থা যাতে প্ৰতিষ্ঠা হয় সেই কথাটো আচলতে আহিছিল কিন্তু দুৰ্ভাগ্য তাতে এতিয়া আমাৰ কথাটো এনেকুৱা হ'ব সেইটো এটা মই ঐতিহাসিক প্ৰেক্ষাপটৰ কথা ক'লো এতিয়া যদি আপোনালোকে চাই দেখিব যে কোৱালিটি এডুকেশ্যন বুলি আমি যেটা কৈছো কোৱালিটি এডুকেশ্যনৰ ধাৰণাটো এটা অলপমান জটিল ধাৰণা আৰু অলপমান গণ্ডগোলীয়া ধাৰণা অসুবিধাজনক ধাৰণা এইটো কাৰণে যে আমাৰ যেতিয়া অৰ্থনৈতিকভাৱে এটা সূত্ৰ আছে তাক প্ৰডাক্ট ডিফাৰেন্সিয়েশ্যন বুলি কয় যে আমাৰ এটা প্ৰডাক্ট আৰু ইটো প্ৰডাক্টৰ পৰা ডিফাৰেন্সিয়েট কৰা যায় যে বিভিন্ন গুণগতাৰ অধীনত যে বিভিন্ন বস্তুবিলাক তাক ডিফাৰেন্সিয়েট কৰা যায় যে কোনটো ভাল কোনটো বেয়া ইত্যাদি ইত্যাদি সো কোৱালিটি অফ এডুকেশ্যনৰ ধাৰণাটোত এনেকুৱা এটা ধাৰণা পিছৰ ফালে আৰোপ কৰা গ'ল যে আচলতে কোৱালিটি অফ এডুকেশ্যন বেলেগ অৰ্থাৎ মানে এটা শিক্ষা ব্যৱস্থা বা এটা শিক্ষা পদ্ধতি এটা শিক্ষাৰ সিস্টেম আন এটা শিক্ষাতকে বেলেগ তাৰ কোৱালিটি বেলেগ বুলি কৈ আমি আচলতে যি ধৰণৰ এটা ইনষ্ট্ৰুমেণ্টেল ৰোলৰ কথা ভাবিছিলো শিক্ষাৰ সামাজিক সমতা আনিবৰ কাৰণে আজি আমি এনেকুৱা এটা পৰ্যায় পালো যে সেই শিক্ষাই আচলতে এতিয়া সামাজিক অসমতা সৃষ্টিৰ মূল কাৰণ অৰ্থাৎ যিটো শিক্ষা ব্যৱস্থা আমি এনভিজন কৰিছিলো ভিজুৱেলাইজ কৰিছিলো যে যাৰ জৰিয়তে সামাজিক সমতা প্ৰতিষ্ঠা হ'ব এতিয়া সেই শিক্ষা ব্যৱস্থাই কোৱালিটি এডুকেশ্যনক এনেকুৱা এটা পৰ্যায়লৈ লৈ গ'ল যে ইন দ্য নেম অফ কোৱালিটি আমি হায়াৰকিকেল এটা শিক্ষা ব্যৱস্থা প্ৰতিষ্ঠা কৰি শিক্ষাক এটা ইনষ্ট্ৰুমেণ্ট কৰি পেলালো যে সামাজিক বৈষম্য সৃষ্টি কৰাৰ কাৰণ সো এনেকুৱা ক্ষেত্ৰত যেতিয়া কোৱালিটিৰ কথাটো আমি প্ৰশ্নটো যেতিয়া উত্থাপন কৰিম তেতিয়া আচলতে দুটা প্ৰশ্ন মই ভাবো যে খুব সঠিকভাৱে উত্থাপন কৰাটো দৰকাৰ সেইটো হ'ল যে হু ডিসাইডস এবাউট দ্য কোৱালিটি যে কোৱালিটি বোলা কথাটো কোনে ডিসাইড কৰিব এণ্ড হাউ টু এনশ্যোৰ দ্য কোৱালিটি অফ এডুকেশ্যন যে সেইটো কেনেকে এনশ্যোৰ কৰা যাব যে কোনে ডিসাইড কৰিব ৰাষ্ট্ৰই ডিসাইড কৰিব মানুহে ডিসাইড কৰিব নে কোনে ডিসাইড কৰিব সেইটো এটা প্ৰশ্ন আৰু দ্বিতীয় প্ৰশ্নটো হ'ল যে আমি সেই যোনে যেতিয়া আমি ওয়ান্স উই ডিসাইড দ্যাট দিস ইজ গোইং টু বি দ্য কোৱালিটি তেতিয়া আমি সেইটো সকলোৱে পাব পৰাকে ষ্টেণ্ডাৰ্ডাইজ কৰি ইউনিভাৰ্সেল কৰি আমি সেই ধৰণৰ সকলোৱে এটা কোৱালিটি এডুকেশ্যন পাবৰ কাৰণে আমি আচলতে কেনেকে তাক এনশ্যোৰ কৰিব পাৰো ৰাষ্ট্ৰীয় শিক্ষানীতি 2020ত শেষৰ ফালে আমাৰ এটা চেপ্টাৰ আছে মেকিং ইট হ্যাপেন বুলি তাতে এটা অংশ আছে অনুচ্ছেদ আছে তাতে এই কথাটো লিখা আছে যে আচলতে যদিহে কোৱালিটি এডুকেশ্যন আমি যদি এনশ্যোৰ কৰিব লাগে তেতিয়া হলে তাৰ এটা ডাঙৰ আহিলা হ'ল যে পাব্লিক ফান্ডিং এডুকেশ্যন হ'ব লাগিব পাব্লিক ফান্ডেড এডুকেশ্যন হ'ব লাগিব আদাৰৱাইজ এই কোৱালিটি অফ এডুকেশ্যন হ'ব নোৱাৰে নহলে সেইটো এটা কমোডিটি হ'ব আৰু কমোডিটিটো প্ৰডাক্ট ডিফাৰেন্সিয়েশ্যনৰ নিচিনাকে বেলেগ বেলেগ মানুহে বেলেগ বেলেগ কোৱালিটি দেখুৱাই তাক এটা কৰিব আৰু সেইটোৱে ইনক্ৰিজিংলি এটা হায়াৰাৰ্কিকেল এডুকেশ্যন চিষ্টেম কৰিব যাৰ পৰা আমি বিচৰা ধৰণৰ এটা সামাজিক সমতা নাপাওঁ গতিকে এই কথাটো যেতিয়া নেশ্যনেল এডুকেশ্যন পলিচিত শেষৰ ফালে এই কথাটো আছে এটা অনুকিয়াই থৈছে যে আমি পাব্লিক ফান্ডিং এডুকেশ্যন যদি নহয় আৰু যদি বিচৰা ধৰণৰ এডুকেশ্যন যদি নহয় তেতিয়াহ'লে আচলতে কোৱালিটি অফ এডুকেশ্যনৰ কথাটো আমি যেনেকৈ বিচাৰিছিলোঁ তেনেকৈ এড্ৰেছ কৰিব নোৱাৰিম গতিকে মই ভাবোঁ যে আমাৰ যেতিয়া আলোচনা হ'ব মূল যেতিয়া আলোচনালৈ মানুহ আমাৰ যিসকল বক্তা আছে তেওঁলোক আগবাঢ়িব তেতিয়া মই ভাবোঁ যে এই ধৰণৰ যিবিলাক গভীৰ সামাজিক আৰু অৰ্থনৈতিক প্ৰশ্ন আছে আৰু যিবিলাকৰ লগত ৰাষ্ট্ৰৰ ধাৰণাটো ৰাষ্ট্ৰৰ চৰিত্ৰ এইবিলাকৰ প্ৰশ্ন জড়িত হৈ আছে মই ভাবোঁ যে তাৰ আলোকত এই সমস্যা আৰু এই মৌলিক প্ৰশ্নসমূহ উত্থাপন কৰিব আৰু তাৰ জৰিয়তে আচলতে শিক্ষা সম্পৰ্কে আমি নতুন দিশৰ সন্ধান পাম আৰু সেই সন্ধানৰ মাধ্যমেৰে নতুন শিক্ষানীতি ৰূপায়ণৰ ব্যৱস্থা কৰিব পাৰিম গতিকে মই সেই আশা কৰি সকলোলৈকে শুভেচ্ছা জনাই মোৰ এই যিটো ইন্ট্ৰডাক্টৰী ভাষণৰ কথা কোৱা হৈছিলে আদৰণি ভাষণ বা উন্মোচনী ভাষণ বুলি কোৱা হৈছিলে সেই সামৰিছো আৰু মই সকলোকে ধন্যবাদ জনাই মূল বক্তাসকলক তেওঁলোকৰ বক্তব্য ৰাখিবৰ কাৰণে অনুৰোধ কৰিছো ধন্যবাদ
Thank you, sir, for your valuable speech. This is the beginning, and definitely we'll carry out your thoughts throughout the discussion. And now we are going to our main discussion regarding quality education, which is going to be present by Dr. Orunima Bora, Assistant Professor in the Discipline of Education, Krishnakant State Open University. She will she will explore the different angles of quality in front of you. Definitely will be get benefited from her speech. But just before her deliberation, I would like to submit you that there is a lot of definitions on quality of education, and it is a relative terms. Quality for me and quality for you, or quality for Assam, quality for India, quality for America, definitely differs context to context. But still, in case of education, you all will be agree with me that quality education does mean which enables each individual to maximize his ability to function his or her roles in the society as an individual, as a family member, as a community member, or as a member of this world, humanity. So maybe this is the global concept of quality education, and regarding achieving this, we don't know whether it should be very costly one, it should be very cheaper one. What kind of education actually fulfill these particular goals or aims of quality education? That is the matter. So with this word, I request Dr. Orunima to carry forward her presentation. Over to Dr. Orunima.
Thank you, sir. Sir, is it visible?
Okay.
Sir?
It is visible now.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Respected Director, sir, Professor Jody Porwa, sir, respected my colleagues and learners, welcome all of you to this webinar that is on quality education, accredited and teachers development. And here my part is quality of education, and I'll give a brief discussion of quality of education with special reference to NEP 2020. So first of all, as the introductory part, I'd like to mention here that whenever progress of our society has made over the centuries is because of education. Being the foundation stone of society, education brings the reforms, helps in progress, and paves the way for innovations. Therefore, the importance of quality of education cannot be undermined. And therefore, the great personalities, the educationists, the administrators have given importance on the term quality of education. So, as mentioned by Dr. Pranab Soikia sir or Professor Joydeep Borua sir, the quality, while we are going to say about quality, quality is a very vague term, because on the basis of the perception of individual to individual, the quality may be differ. So while the term is used in the field of education, from different viewpoints of educationist experts, it can be said that a quality education that provides all learners with capabilities they require to become economically productive, develop sustainable livelihoods, then contribute to peaceful and democratic societies, and enhance individual well-being. So the term quality education in 2012, it was United Nations for the first time. It has the term was included in their Sustainable Development Goals, quality education, and quality education mainly actually not only prepares the students for job. It is not only prepares the students, but also develops the overall personality. It means the all-round development of the individual, which are related with physical development, emotional development, social development. So different kinds of development, quality of education is related. While such development will be occurred in a balanced way, then the quality of education can be said as up to the mark. And now come to the UN United Nations definitions on quality of education. That United Nations understand the supremacy of education for a more brighter and our prosperous future. So in its sustainable developmental goals, United Nations has stated that quality of education, that transformation of the world by 2030, and it also implies equitable and standard education for all that will promote lifelong learning and the urge to gather knowledge in the inclusivity and equitability are the foundations to be upheld in quality education and not a greater literacy rate. So here I also want to give some dimensions regarding quality of education. Here, 6 dimensions mainly are given here. First of all, the dimensions are equity. Equity means non-discriminations. Equity means non-discriminations. It means the gender, ethnic origin, or family background or language should not become as obstacles in front of taking education. So this is equity. Then next one, contextualization and relevance. Here I'd like to mention that education mainly gives not only the individual development. Education is related with some other development also, and here the social development is very important. Therefore, for social development, giving social development to the individual, the always educational aims should be based on the social expectation, social needs. This is very important. On the basis of the social expectation, social needs, when educational aims, objectives will be framed, then it will able to give the social development. Then the child friendly teaching learning activity. So in the ancient period, the education system was totally teacher-centered. Teacher was all in all in the education system, and the teaching learning process was based on verbal deliberation on the part of the teacher and passive hearing on the part of the students. Therefore, the a system totally based on teacher. But with the emergence of, most importantly, emergence of psychology in the field of education, now education is become child-centered. Child is the center point of the education system. Therefore, every child should get the environment so that they can utilize their abilities, they can utilize their potentialities in a balanced way. Because from the psychological point of view, it is seen that, or it is proved that every child is different from each other on the basis of their interest, on the basis of their capacities, on the basis of their abilities, on the basis of their attitudes, etc., etc. Therefore, every child in the educational environment or the education system should provide the such an environment where all children, all individuals can get the chance to utilize their potentialities in their own way. So this is very important dimensions regarding quality of education. Then another dimensions are sustainability, because sustainable education is often referred to as education for sustainable development, which has been defined as UNESCO in 2014. And education for sustainable development allows every human being to acquire the knowledge, skills, qualities, attitudes, and values that are necessary for to shape a sustainable future. Then balanced approach. Balanced approach is that it refers the quality education aims at a balanced set of capabilities of children they require to become economically productive, then develop sustainable livelihood, then contribute to peaceful and democratic societies and enhance individual well-being. And the last dimension, that is learning outcomes. Learning outcomes: after completing a certain level of education, children must have developed a minimum standard of skills. Say, for example, after finishing the primary stages of education, one should acquire the basic needs of life. Then after finishing secondary stages of education, one should able to acquire the basic needs for employability. And after finishing the higher education, one should acquire some spatial skills, spatial knowledge, spatial intellectual leadership, then social employability, then entrepreneurship, then higher integration of knowledge and capability for new creation, etc. So these are some dimensions of quality education. Then let's go to the point, the main point. How for such dimensions are reflected in New Education Policy 2020. It is very important. In 2020, New Education Policy 2020 is a historic effort. After 34 years, it is an historic effort. And the implementation of previous policies on education has focused largely on issues and access and equity, and the unfinished agenda of the former policies, National Education Policy 1986 and the modified version 1992 is appropriately dealt with this new policy of education. So It conveyed the structural change in the education system, which aims to make India the global knowledge superpower, ensuring equity and inclusion. So equity and inclusion, it is the heart of the new education policy 2020 in the field of school education or higher education system. Inclusion involves restructuring the whole system with the aim of ensuring the wide range of educational opportunities, and it includes curriculum, pedagogy, recreational opportunity. And also, a new education policy has set the goal for all to be authoritative with the command of different languages at the different levels of education. Then inclusion of community participation, it is here. Then inclusion and community participation and attempt has been made to develop conscious awareness of roles and duties, and inclusion of community participation, which would minimize the exclusion of students on the basis of language and disability. This will motivate students to learn more about the diverse culture of India. Then gender equality and inclusion, it is given importance by National Education Policy 2020, and gross education ratio during 2015 and 16, it stands only 23.4% girls against 25.4% for boys in higher education, and the gap is visible at all the social categories mainly. Therefore, it is the NEP has taken the biggest effort to bring gender sensitivity as an integral part of the curriculum. The another most important aspects or agenda that is included for quality education in the NEP 2020, that is inclusion of a new pedagogical system or early childhood care and education. As we know that the early childhood stage is very important, or it is the basic stage for our future development, and over 85% of child's cumulative brain development occurs prior to the age of 6. Prior to the age of 6, it indicates the importance of appropriate care and stimulation of the brain in the early years. Therefore, to gain the healthy brain development and growth, we have to give focus on early childhood care and education. But at present, the quality of early childhood care and education is not available for some of the part of the children, particularly from socioeconomically disadvantaged background. Therefore, a strong investment in early childhood care and education is given importance by new educational policy, so that all young children can access, enabling them to and participate and flourish in the educational system throughout their lives. And another most important aspects that are included in new education policy for the development of quality education, that is inclusion of skill courses. By including contemporary subjects, vocational courses, and extracurricular activities from the school level, will pull back students towards their schools. Therefore, Bal Bhavans will be established to give support and vitalize students to participate in art-related, career-related, and play-related activities. So now, come to the point about higher education. In case of higher education, what are the agenda, what are the recommendations of our new policy? Before going to that, we should know about the present status of higher education in India. In India is a large higher educational system that is here more than 600 universities and over 33,000 colleges with more than 20 million students. Even our higher education system is facing different type of challenges we are facing. Therefore, the quality higher education is the urgent focused by new education policy 2020. I have mentioned here some of the practical challenges of our higher education system, and challenges are the quality of teaching and learning, the supply demand gap, uneven growth, and the access to opportunity and constraint on research capacity and innovation. So the low quality of teaching and learning, the greatest challenges facing higher education in India is the chronic shortage of quality faculty. From various reports, it estimate that 30 to 40% of faculty positions are still unfilled. And most of the faculties have no proper training in teaching, and some other issues are also there, like outdated rigid curricula and the absence of employer engagement in course content and skill development, and very few opportunities are there for interdisciplinary learning. Pedagogies and assessment are focused on input and rote learning, and students have little opportunity to develop a wider range of transferable skills, including critical thinking, analytical reasoning, problem solving, and collaborative working. So another important challenges are also there, that is high student teacher ratio. And due to the lack of teaching staff, there are more pressures are there to the existing staff. So this is very big challenges actually. And separation of research and teaching, lack of early stage research experience is also there, and ineffective quality assurance system, and a complete lack of accountability by institutions to the state and central government, students, and other stockholders. Then another challenges, the supply demand gap. The average growth rate over 7% in the last decade. India's gross enrollment ratio in higher education is very low. By some estimates, even if India succeeds in this target of 30% GER by 2020, 100 million qualified students will still not have places at university. So India needs to drastically increase the number of places at universities and enrollment through distance learning programs also. Over the last decade, the diversity of course offered by universities and colleges has narrowed, resulting in saturated markets for engineers, technology graduates, and MBAs. Then another challenges, that is uneven growth and access of opportunity. So despite efforts to spread the location of higher education institution more evenly across the country, there is wide variation, particularly between urban and rural areas, but also between different states. Then another challenges is constraints on research and innovation. Here, the most important thing is that the most of the teachers in the field of higher education wants to pursue research or PhD degree, not because of getting result actually, because of getting promotions, or because of getting the privileges. Therefore, in our country, like India, we are we are not able to getting the standard up to the mark to develop our research and innovations. So this is one of the challenges, practical challenges. And considering such challenges, new education policy wants to give India a high quality higher education where opportunities will be available to all individuals, and equity and inclusion must be common across the school and higher education. So here some steps are prescribed by new education policy that have to be taken by higher educational institutions. These are mitigate opportunity cost and fees for pursuing higher education, then provide more financial assistance to socioeconomically disadvantaged children, then conduct outreach on higher education opportunities and scholarship, make admission process more inclusive, increase employability potential or higher education programs, then ensure all building and facilities for disabled friendly, and provide socioeconomic and academic support to and mentoring for all such students through suitable counseling and mentoring programs, then strictly enforce all no discrimination and anti-harassment rules, then develop institutional development plans. So these are some of the agenda, or these are some of the recommendations provided by NEP to 2020 in case of higher educations, and that such steps should be taken by higher educational institutions for getting quality education. And here some key initiatives are also there. Some key initiatives are also there. As we know that due to the COVID situations or due to the pandemic situation, all we are enforced to be online in everywhere. So education system is also not exceptional here. From pre-primary to primary education, all are becoming online. So in this regard, some key initiatives are also there. These are digital infrastructure. Digital infrastructure, there is a need to invest in creation of open evolvable public digital infrastructure in education sector that can be used by multiple platforms and point solutions to solve for India's scale, diversity, complexity, and device penetration. This will ensure that the technology-based solution do not become outdated with the rapid advances in technology. Then online teaching platform and tools, appropriate existing e-learning platforms such as Swayam, Diksha will be extended to provide teachers with a structured, user-friendly, rich set of assistive tools for monitoring progress of the learners. Then content creation, digital repository, and dissemination. It refers a digital repository of content, including creation of coursework, learning games and simulation, augmented reality and virtual reality will be developed with a clear public system for ratings by users on effectiveness and quality. Then addressing the digital device, given the fact that there still persists a substantial section of the population whose digital access is highly limited. The existing mass media such as television, radio, and community radio will be extensively used for telecast and broadcast. Then virtual labs, existing e-learning platforms are such as Diksha, then Swayam and Swayam Prabha will also be leveraged for creating virtual labs so that all students have equal access to quality, practical, and hands-on experiment-based learning experiences. Then most importantly, training and incentive for teachers, because a teacher will be the main source where all from on the basis of whom such implementations will be proper implementation can be expected. Therefore, teachers will undergo rigorous training in learner-centric pedagogy and on how to become high quality online content creator themselves using online teaching platforms and tools. There will be emphasis on teachers' role in facilitating active students' engagement with the content with each other. So these are some of the initiatives, some of the recommendations, some of the agendas are taken by New Education Policy 2020. And in our coming days, n number of activities, n number of implementation will be there. Therefore, the future days, the coming days are very important for us in the field of education system, in the field of improving the quality of education. Therefore, as a teacher, we have the responsibility, because as a teacher, we have to perform many more responsibilities at a time, from administrative responsibility to academic responsibility, to up to applying patent, and for our different activities, we have to do many more activities at a time. Therefore, our coming days are very challenging for us as a teacher, and we have to learn, and authorities should be concerned about that and give training to the teachers, so that proper balance among the different works can be maintained. And we expect quality education, and we expect the improving quality of education in Indian scenario. So these were my some explanation about quality of education, and the other remaining part, that is accreditation and teachers development, it will be given by Dr. Archana Adhikari and Dr. Pranab Soikia, sir. Thank you so much. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Ornima, for your enlightening deliberation. Definitely it will benefit our participants, and I request our participants, definitely they have presently listened Dr. Ornima, and if they wish to more clarification, if they have any query, you can post it in our chat box, and at the end of the session, Dr. Ornima will reply your queries. Now, we'll move to our next presentation, which is given by Dr. Archana Adhikari on a very important topic on teacher development, because teacher is the key persons around which the whole entire education system moves, develops, grows. So, Dr. Archana, who is now birthday resource person today, today is her birthday. So we wish her a best birthday today, a teacher, the best occasion we give her, because the teacher celebrate her birthday on delivering a lecture on teacher development. Definitely this is a great occasion for her. So now I switch over to Dr. Archana Adhikari to deliver on the particular topic on teacher development.
Thank you, sir. Is my screen visible?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so thank you very much, respected our director, sir, Professor Joydeep Barua, sir, all my esteemed faculty colleagues, and their research scholars, and all the learners present here. So Dr. Arunima Bora has already highlighted upon one of the most important aspects of quality education. We all talk about quality education, what is quality, how it can be ensured, or how it can be boosted out. But what is quality? He has already mentioned. But the another important thing that is interrelated with quality, that is teacher. Because if we want to improve the quality of education, then we have to improve the quality of the teacher. Means we all are teacher, and as such, if we want to improve the quality of our teaching, quality of our content, and quality of our pedagogy, then only we can ensure a quality education. So to ensure quality teacher and quality education, we must be updated, because we cannot stick to the old method, old content, and old pedagogy. We know that everything is changing. Lots of new things that how we can learn, how we can teach, in an online platform. So for this, teacher development is very important, and therefore as our topics are quality education and teacher development, so I'll be talking about on this particular topic. So first of all, I want to talk on the place of a teacher. We all know that who is a teacher. A teacher is a person who shares knowledge. So, but to give the most important and most defined definition of teacher is that only the very best and most learned become teacher. Means if we want to be a teacher, a good teacher, we have to learn the most and we have to be the best. Not good or better, we have to be best. Then only we can be considered as a teacher, which is in term a good teacher. Then the most the person whom we admire, that is Dr. Radhakrishnan, he has told that true teachers are those who help us think for ourselves. Means if the teacher is a person a good teacher is the who help us and others to think for self. Means how we can improve, how the society where we live can be improved. And as we know that this NEP is the latest of our government policy. But before that, the first NEP that was implemented in 1966, that is Kothari Commission. And regarding teacher, it has given a definition, and that is what? Of all the different factors which influence the quality of education and its contribution to national development, the quality, competence, and character of the teacher. So that the first educational policy, policy has also given importance on this. The quality of education implies or relies on the teacher. Means if we want a quality education, then we must have competent and quality teacher. It was about it was a comment given by Kothari Commission. Then we have the next then we have, after 34 years of a gap, as Dr. Ornima has mentioned, we have our latest educational policy, that is NEP 2020. And regarding teacher, place of teacher, it has mentioned that teachers truly shape the future of our children and therefore the future of our nation. That means the teacher are the person who shapes the children, as children are the future generation. That's why teachers shape the nation. So from this definition and from this conception, we can realize how much a teacher is important for a particular child, for a particular society, and for a particular country. But how we can develop ourselves, or what is the need of development? The director sir has mentioned about the question that he has raised, that how quality can be ensured. So if we want to ensure quality in education, then we must focus on teacher development, because teacher development is that means through which quality can be ensured. So what is teacher development? Teacher development can be viewed as teachers learning rather than as teachers getting teachers to change. Means it is not something like that someone is changing us, but it is something that we are learning something, because learning can never stop. We can learn till our death. Means our learning is continuous. So as we are in a path of changes, lots of things are changing. So as such, we have to also adapt to that changes. As for this, we have to train ourselves, we have to learn. So as such, teacher learning implies the teacher development. Then teacher development is an entire process in itself that involves learning, upskilling, and evolving as a teacher. Means it is not only learning, it also implies the upskilling. We have to upskill our skills that we already know, and we have to update it And we have to evolve as a teacher, because no one is a means. Earlier we can say that someone is the born teacher, but now this concept is not accepted. That means there are some rare cases of born teacher, but now if we have to be a good teacher, we have to evolve as a teacher, and to evolve we have to learn, we have to upskill. As we all know that teaching is an ongoing professional activity rather than something that can be wasted once and for all through the acquisition of restricted set of skill. So teaching is a professional activity, and for this it must be refreshed and developed. So this is about teacher development. Now, there are some terms which are used simultaneously, but what are the actual meaning we should know about it. The first one is professional training, professional education, and professional support. So professional training means it intends to inform the teachers of already discovered technique. Means there are some technique skill which are already discovered, but when we are undergoing a professional training, we intend to know about all this skill and how it can be applied in the real life classroom. Then professional education, it implies the rules, ideas, and principles themselves in order to improve their professional performance. Means when we are undergoing a professional course, then we have to know about the rules, ideas, or principles of a particular profession and how we can improve our performance. Then the third concept is professional support, which is a job embedded arrangement procedure. Means to ensure quality teaching in a quality classroom and to produce quality learner, we have to apply or we must be clear about all these three terms: professional training, professional education, and professional support. Then another important aspect that is concerned with teacher development or teacher, that is teacher appraisal. So what is this? Teacher appraisal is an integral part of teacher development program. It is a valuable means of promoting the professional development of teacher. Appraisal means assessing. When someone is assessing us or when we are assessing ourselves, then we can find out what are our flaws and what are our strengths. And on the basis of that, we can assess ourselves, we can evaluate ourselves. And this will help to ensure a quality education and to build a quality society. So development can occur in each phase of the process, that is during the preparatory, interview, and follow-up stage. Means when we are when we are taking the training, then when we actually enter in the process and after the follow-up stages. Then our most important part of this discussion, as we are celebrating 1 year of NEP 2020. So today's topic was quality, accreditation, and teacher development. So now I will be talking on the what NEP has highlighted regarding teacher development. So first of all, the National Educational Policy 2020 recognizes and identifies teachers and faculty as the heart of the learning process. So this implies that NEP 2020 has given the most importance to the teachers because this policy has considered us, means the teacher faculty, as the heart of the learning process. Of course, if we have to help our learner to learn, then we have to apply all our effort, and for this we have to be developed, we have to be up to date. Then again, our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji also emphasized that the policy will empower teachers of India and list out various reforms of their recruitment, continuous professional development, and service condition. As Dr. Arunima Bora has discussed different chronic problems, the demerits of the teacher, means what of the higher education, and among them one important demerits was quality faculty, lack of quality faculty. So as such, our Prime Minister has also given us an hope that this policy will list out different reforms through which our recruitment system, our continuous professional development system or service may be improved and the teacher fraternity will be benefited. Then teachers will be given continuous opportunities for self-improvement and to learn the latest innovation and advances in their profession. Means this policy has will give us lots of opportunity through which we can develop and enrich ourselves. And another important thing, it was mentioned that in the draft, each teacher will be expected to participate in at least 50 hours of CPD, means continuous professional development opportunities every year. Means this policy will help the teacher, that this will give the teacher a opportunity to participate 50 hours of CPD every year. So if a teacher get time and credit of 50 hours to update himself, then there will be no question of quality or lack of quality education or lack of quality teacher. So this was the vision of NEP. Now we will discuss what means on teacher education. As teacher development, teacher to develop the teacher, we must have a good or quality teacher education, because teacher education is that part of education who is completely concentrated on the development of the teacher. So this part was very important, and what NEP 2020 has enlightened or they have focused in this area, we have to discuss. So basically, I have to just mention that teacher education is placed in the higher education part, as there are lots of some parts in the draft NEP. So this teacher education is in the part 2 under the section of higher education in the draft NEP 2020. So what are the highlights? Means what on what areas it has highlighted or it has pointed out or focused. First one is a regular, means I am just discussing this in terms of the higher education, because in school education, in terms of school education, there are some another focuses, but I am skipping that because as our discussion is basically is going on the higher education. So I am discussing the main highlight of NEP 2020 on teacher education in terms of higher education. So the first one is a regulatory system shall be empowered to take stringent action against the substandard and dysfunctional teacher education institution. Yes, there are, as we know that in India or in our country, there are lots of teacher educational institutions and which are running illegally, and they are doing some unethical things like selling the degrees of B.Ed or M.Ed. So this must be stopped. If we really want a quality education and quality country, quality society, then it must be stopped. And therefore, to set it, there will be a regulatory system which will control this kind of institution, and they will take action against this kind of unethical activities. So we hope that if such kind of system will be established or empowered, then quality means then we can actually get quality teacher. Because I have found that, or we have found that whenever the students enroll in the teacher education or B.Ed or M.Ed, basically they are just try to get a degree, that they want to engage in a teaching job, because and for this they want be a degree. But we will get very rare students that who actually want to be a teacher, because most of students come to B.Ed or M.Ed because they don't have other option, and they want some job. But if we get 100% of teacher trainee who actually comes to the program to actually become a teacher, and then we can ensure, we can hope to get a good teacher, quality teacher, and a quality education. So this kind of system most probably will stop this kind of unethical things and will help to ensure our quality teacher education. Then conduction of teacher education program within composite multidisciplinary institution, because nowadays the NEP have and nowadays we are talking about the multidisciplinarity, and as well NEP 2020 has also emphasized on multidisciplinary approach. Means we should not stick to one particular subject or particular discipline. We must have a multidisciplinary approach, and if the teacher education system accept this kind of approaches, then we can ensure quality education, because a teacher has to know lots of things. Once he has to be a physician, he has to be a guide, he has to be a counselor. So a teacher means multidisciplinary knowledge to tackle the multiple problem of the student. So this kind of multidisciplinary approach will definitely ensure a quality teacher education. Then this point actually implies that the program will the teacher education program will be conducted within the composite multidisciplinary institution. Means it will be not stick to a B.Ed college or like this TEI. It may be integrated to a university or a degree college. Then we all know that by 2030, to become a teacher, school teacher, one must have a 4-year integrated B.Ed. So it will be a minimal degree qualification for school teacher. So 4 years, as in some institution this has been implemented, but still 2-year degree is existing. But by 2030, if anyone want to become a teacher, then he or she must have or must possess this 4-year integrated B.Ed. So for this, we need multidisciplinary approaches, because 4 years mean it may be B.Ed, B.Ed or BSc B.Ed, and this will help them to acquire the multidisciplinary knowledge. Then another important focus that had been given by NEP on teacher education is network of government and private school. We have seen that we have seen or witnessed first differences between government and private school in terms of pedagogy, in terms of system, or in terms of processes. But as per NEP 2020, a network must be established between government and private school in each higher educational institution. Then admission to pre-service teacher preparation program through suitable subject and aptitude tests. Nowadays also we have seen that universities are conducting some entrance tests, but whenever NEP will be implemented, then admission to pre-service means the person who want to become a teacher has to undergo a aptitude test, which will be conducted by National Testing Agency only. Then one of the most important focus of NEP on teacher education was Department of Education, because Department of Education is very important because it concentrates on the pedagogy and teaching as well as research. So it has said that diverse and research experienced faculty profile in Department of Education will be highly valued to strengthen multidisciplinary education of teachers and provide vigor in conceptual development. Then one of the another important highlight or focus of NEP on teacher education also goes to the PhD research scholar. So it has mentioned that credit-based courses in teaching, education, pedagogy, and writing be chosen by research scholar, because when the research scholar is undergoing their research, it is the best period of learning and exploring. So NEP has emphasized that if the research scholar has to earn some credit-based courses in teaching as education, and they have to obtain minimum number of hours of actual teaching experiences, because whenever they are undergoing a research, they are exploring, and when they actually enter in the classroom, they actually gain the actual phase of education, what is actually happening in the school, college, or university. So according to their subject or area of study, they can choose the credit-based course and they can teach in the school or any institution. And it will be a minimum number, minimum credit for your teaching assistantship. Then another important point, that is in-service continuous professional development for college and university teacher will continue. So, and how it will be continued through the existing institutional arrangement, like we have the RCOP, now it's FIP, faculty induction program. But with the advancement of technology, now we have lots of e-learning tools or technologies, and with the use of a platform like Swayam Diksha, the teachers of college and university can continuously develop their professional uh, abilities. So we can, or the teachers can continuously develop their profession, and it can be done through the existing institutional arrangement and as well as the through Swayam and Diksha. As we all know that nowadays Swayam, Diksha are a very popular platform through which we can, mean the teacher can develop their own pedagogical skill and own profession. Then another important point is a national mission for mentoring shall be established. Now we have mentoring groups, means we are mentoring, we are controlling, we are observing our learner, our student. So if someone is also is controlling us, then our whatever that our existing skill and abilities may be improved. So a national mission for mentoring shall be established with a large pool of outstanding senior and retired faculty. So obviously if we get mentorship, if we get guidance from a retired or senior faculty on a sessional basis, then we can definitely gain some knowledge and we can rectify our mistake that we have committed. So this will be to provide short and long-term mentoring, professional support to university and college teacher. So I think this will be a very positive aspect for our professional development. Then National Professional Standard for Teachers by 2022. Now it's 2021, so definitely very soon our NP will be implemented, and we will have this NPST, which will determine all aspects of teacher career management, professional development, etc. And another important point of NEP on teacher development is teacher audit or performance appraisal. So these are some highlight point of NEP on teacher education, which directly or indirectly concerned with our development. Because if we have to develop our learner, our student, we have to develop first. We have to update first. And NEP has made all these provision through which the teacher can be developed. No point has been left out. I think means which are hindering our system of quality education. So if we actually try to ensure quality education, we must quality faculty and quality teacher. So I want to conclude my discussion just through 2 points. So we have discussed a lot about teacher development, the teacher professional development, and what NEP has talked about on this and on teacher education. So NEP has regarding school education, NEP has envisaged or had a vision of 100% GER, gross enrollment ratio. So by 2030, so if we really want to enroll or to admit all the students of India, of our country in the school, every school of India, then we need dedicated teacher. So one dedicated teacher only can ensure this 100% year. If we are engaged in unethical activity, unethical organizational work, then we cannot translate this vision. So teacher development is must. Then to create higher performance standard for teacher need to be trained digitally, yes, to blend into digital, because nowadays we are learning teaching through digital mode. So now India has been transformed to Digital India. So to translate this and to create a digital learning platform or process, we have to be updated, and we need training through which we can blend into the digital learning process. So I think I can at least discuss the important highlight or important point of NEP which has been given in terms of teacher education and teacher development. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Archana, for your elaborating and extensive discussion on the topic assigned to you. It is really enlightening, and definitely our participants will get benefited from your deliberation. Just briefly, I supplement 2 3 points regarding accreditation. See, a education policy reflects the public demand of the time, demand of the people, demand of the society. And the one word we repeatedly find here is that the people, society, and everybody, there is a universal demand for quality. And of course, if demand for quality is universal, definitely assessment of quality is also now the integral part of this quality driving process. So that's why we familiar with the NAC accreditation of higher education institution, but this policy prominently and very rigorously suggests for quality assessment from pre-primary school to higher education. And for that, this policy proposes independent state body for assessing the school quality by forming a state school standard authority under which a school's safety, security, basic infrastructure, teachers' quality, financial probity, and sound process of governance, etc., is the are the parameters on the basis of which the schools will be going to be assessed and accredited. This is the order of the day. And equally, definitely you all aware about that higher education under this policy, yeah, higher education institutions are motivated, encouraged to be get the autonomy status, and this autonomy status can be attained by an institution through the graded autonomy, through graded autonomy means graded accreditation and graded accreditation status. Institution of higher learning can be get autonomous status, and maybe they can go further the maximum extent of it, maybe a teaching intensive university, maybe a research intensive university. So along with quality, definitely accreditation is the another word we have to acquaint with and also accustomed with as a professional or as a participant in the field of education. With this word, now I request all the participants to raise their queries, if any, either verbally or in our chat box quickly, so that within 5 minutes we can answer your queries and we can conclude this particular webinar. And I have seen 2 3 queries posted in the chat box. So Dr. Archana and Dr. Please go through these queries, and if you are in a position to reply, please reply. Dr. Urlima?
Yes, thank you, sir. There is one query that is, as the term quality is vague, is differ from person to person, how we can claim that the marks of quality education is definitely bring a change in the educational environment? Thank you for the queries. And I have already mentioned in my slides or in my discussion that some dimensions of quality. Exactly, quality is a vague concept, and it is differ from person to person. It is on the basis of the perception quality defines, but some dimensions is there in while measuring the quality of education on the basis of the experts opinion. And these are I have already discussed that are um, equity, then child friendly educational environment, then other sustainable development. Yes, when all these dimensions will be fulfilled by the education, then equity, inclusion, sustainable development, skill development, everything is possible. And everyone will get the education easily from primary to the higher educational level. So no discrimination will there. When the entire world, entire nation will be educated or will get the education, then automatically the educational the environment will be changed. So I think this is the answer for these queries. Then another queries is there. Inclusive education protects the educational rights of learners, but what are the ways of its implementation without affecting the non-disabled children? Is it possible to provide quality education to the inclusive environment? Yes, to some extent, we try to provide the quality education in the inclusive environment. First of all, as a teacher, we have the responsibility because we have to create awareness among the other member of the society. And as a teacher, we have to create positive attitude in the mind of the people, so that those disabled in the mind of those disabled children, the inferiority complex cannot be created for getting education with those normal children. And other important thing is that the infrastructure facility of educational environment should be disabled friendly, and this recommendation is also given by our new education policy 2020 also. And if we come forward and if we cooperate to give quality in the inclusive educational environment, that it will be definitely possible for us in the coming days. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ornima and Dr. Orsana. There is a question for you also from Kaisipli Losa.
She has asked that how do we implement national mission for mentoring the teachers? Is there any platform? So it was a vision of the NEP 2020. So very soon when it will be implemented, we will get the procedures how it can be implemented, and it will be offered to all the school or colleges, so that it can be implemented.
So thank you, Dr. Archana. Just Mona Lisa does inquired whether NAC accreditation is voluntary or is there any mandatory system to measure quality of education in NEP 2020. Yes, though it is voluntary, but indirectly, if you see the rules, regulation, procedure of running course, getting grants, then you find that everywhere NAC assessment or NAC grade is very much required for getting autonomous status, getting grants, getting new approval of the course, etc. Even this online regulation also, only accredited institution only run these online courses. So that's why, though it is seems to be voluntary, but in practical field, it is on operationally, it is mandatory kind of things, and definitely NEP 2020 makes accreditation as an integral part of the entire system of education. It is not only confined higher education, it is in school education too. So this is the answer. Maybe uh, satisfy Mona Lisa does. So since there is no another questions, so with this interaction, now I would like to give a formal thanks to our director of School of Social Science, Professor Zaidi Burua sir, for his enlightening inaugural speech. Special thanks to Dr. Orunima and Dr. Archana to make the vibration of in this forum. Definitely, your thoughtful presentation and deliberations will carry forward by different participants participate here in their respective institution or respective places. And finally, I sincerely offer my thanks to the University Authority for organizing this series of webinars. As a part of that, this particular webinar has been conducted. So I offer my sincere thanks to all our IT team, especially Dr. Sarmista, Dr. Vinod, Dr. Antara Mohanto, Dr. Navankut Pathak for their kind assistance in organizing this digital platform. With this word, I wish you all the best to all the participants, and stay safe and stay healthy, and wish you a prosperous life. With this word, I conclude this and declare this webinar at the end. Thank you. Thank you very much.